So Mayor Eric Adams has unveiled a brand new plan to tackle the city's housing shortage. The mayor proposing a big change to development, including new policies and incentives aimed at building and creating more housing.
The mayor says the plan could pave the way for 100,000 new homes over the next 15 years. Okay, we need details. Dan Garodnick, the director of the Department of City Planning, is with us this morning. Nice to have you back on Good Day.
Thanks for having me.
So this is not going to happen overnight.
That's correct.
Which we need right now.
Yeah.
This is a plan to look forward to the next 60 years of New York City. We know that we are in a crisis. We will continue to be in a crisis if we don't take action now. And so we are looking to do the boldest changes for housing supply in the history of New York City. But really, this is forward-looking for the next 60 years, where we want to grow, how we want to grow responsibly, to be able to deal with the real human costs of the lack of housing.
All right, give me the headlines on what's so groundbreaking about this.
Right. So we have the idea here that we want to allow for a little bit more housing in every neighborhood around the city in a way that together will create a lot of housing.
In what way? Give me an idea that was something that we're not doing now.
Some examples. Yeah. Today, we do not create an automatic bonus, a little bit more of a housing development for affordable today.
I thought when all new buildings are built now, there is an affordable component to it.
If you are coming to the city for a specific approval on your project to add a little bit more there, yes, you are mandated to add affordable. But what we're doing is we're making that an as-of-right program where you can actually afford yourself a little bit extra density and deliver to the city and to the public more affordable housing, supportive housing, and senior affordable housing. That will be as of right. We also are going to allow for smaller apartments. We have a lot of seniors, people coming to New York City for the first time who are perfectly comfortable and willing to live in smaller or shared housing typologies. We also want to allow for more housing near transit in all corners of the city, and also on commercial corridors. You know, when we move around the city, you know that there are a lot of single-story commercial structures around, like a laundromat, you have a Subway sandwich shop, nothing above it. We think that you should be enabled to add modest amounts of housing, 3 to 5 story apartment buildings in those areas, which we all recognize as buildings that are easily accommodated.
Let me ask you a question. Why, because it's such a crisis right now, there's a lack of affordable housing, why wasn't this implemented 15 years ago? Why now?
So I think what has happened over time is there's been a realization of the level of crisis that we are in, and that the human cost that we're seeing, high rents, gentrification pressures, the radical imbalance of power between landlords and tenants in New York City is directly connected to our housing scarcity. So if we don't have supply, if you are a renter in New York City and somebody wants to jack up your rent, you have very few options. If they don't want to do repairs, you have very few options. You can't pick up and move. And people are now connecting those realities to the fact that we don't have options for people. We don't need to live that way. And the mayor has charged us with big, bold action to be able to move the city in the right direction, and that's what this is intended to do.
But I think also we're forgetting the fact that we're at an all-time high in operating costs, which is why rents are so high. So there's something else at work here, and if that doesn't change, it doesn't matter if you have 100,000 more apartments on the market. If operating costs are high, no one's going to be able to afford them.
That's right. There's no question that there are a variety of factors at play here. Some of them are global, some of them are nationally affected, interest rates, et cetera. We know that we have the control of what we have the control of in New York City. This is designed to effectuate change in New York City through zoning, entirely within our power. We do not need anybody's help to do this. We want to be able to expand.
Why'd you make the zoning so difficult to begin with, though?
Good question. 1961,
Why?
as the mayor said in his speech yesterday, the 1961 zoning resolution was a complicated act. It has gotten even more complicated over time. Today, we have entire parts of the city which are really not creating any housing. 59 community districts in New York City, 9 of them are producing the housing that is greater than the other 50. We need to spread this out. We need to enable housing growth across the entire city, a little bit more everywhere, as a way to generate real growth and to eliminate the pressures that people are feeling.
So we know part of this proposal is, which has to get approved by the city council. Do we have an inkling whether they're going to approve it?
Listen, we have a really, really good feeling about the city council. The speaker has been very clear about her interests here. Individual council members, they're seeing and hearing from their constituents about the human challenges.
Let me ask you, Dan, because there are communities that are already creating studios and illegal apartments in their homes right now. Sadly, we see it when there's a flooding issue and somebody dies. That happened just a few months ago. Or there's a fire and you find out there's a bunch of families living under one roof. How is this going to be different from what's already going on in some neighborhoods?
Right. So we have a challenge of illegal apartments that are in areas where, frankly, if they're prone to flooding, are extremely dangerous. And the Department of City Planning just put out a report as to where those are, to be able to allow city agencies to alert people and to do better outreach where that is happening. This is about enabling legal units in places where it is totally appropriate, not in coastal flood zones, but in yards where people can actually accommodate them for a senior relative who wants to be close. If you want to generate a little bit of more income to pay your mortgage or to be able to pay part of your kid's education, middle-class homeowners in New York City should have the opportunity that middle-class homeowners throughout the country have. We think this is a real opportunity for them, multi-generational families. It's going to be a boost for them.
Give me a number on what you consider affordable.
Well,
because
please say it's below $5,000.
Yeah. What do you say?
Listen, well, let's start from this proposition.
Yes.
For the most affordable apartments in New York City, under $1,500, we have a roughly 0% vacancy rate.
Yeah.
So we are there. We need to create housing that is affordable for a variety of different categories of New Yorkers, not just one, because that is how we grow the city's economy. That's how we enable job opportunities. That's how we allow people to be in the place where they are working.
I want to ask, because a lot of people say we have thousands of empty apartments. You know, what's going on with that? Because I know that that's rent controlled. That has nothing to do with this.
Right. So that's a state of New York issue. The rent stabilization, rent control rules are determined by the state and set by the state. And to the extent that there are vacancies there and there's connection to prior policies, that is an open question. But what we are looking to do here is to do the things that are entirely within the power of New York City. The mayor wants us to be bold. He set moonshot goals here, 500,000 units. This is going to get us a good part of the way there, and we're really excited to be able to get it done.
Well, let's see what the City Council has to say about that. Director, Department of City Planning, Dan Garodnick. Nice to have you here. Thanks you so much for sharing that.